solving systems of three variables. We are solving them by hand right now, which is kind of a long process. So we're videoing it so we can watch it later for practice. You always choose one of the letters that you want to eliminate. You do have choices in this. If you like to strategize for the easiest route to take, then you definitely want to have your choice of letters. If you don't like to have choices, you may always go for the X's. It will work, but it sometimes will make you have bigger values when you're multiplying and solving. And so I like to go the easiest route. And the way that I know is by looking at my coefficients. So I'm look at the z's. I got a 4, a 12, and a negative 2. It could work because I could multiply negative 2 and get 12. I can multiply 4 and get 12. So it would work, but I have to multiply a lot of things. Looking at the y, that one is the yuckiest choice here because I've got a 5, a 2, a 3. I would have to multiply all of my equations all the time because I can't multiply 2 to get 5, can't multiply 3 to get 5. So I do not want to go for the y's. I want to go for the x's. The reason that I'm choosing the x's to go for is because one has a 3 in the front, the other has a negative, and the other just a positive 1 out front. So that will make this the easiest option to go for. The first step is to pick two equations to eliminate with. I'm going to take this middle equation and the bottom equation. The reason that I'm choosing these two, the board has a delay, sorry, is that the x's are already opposite. I don't have to do any work to make them eliminate. So x plus 3y minus 2z, 1, and that goes there. So the x's are already ready to eliminate. So they cancel. 5 and 3 is 8y plus 12 minus 2 is 10z. And then 73 plus 1, 74. And the way that I do this is that I make sure that my x's have opposite signs. And that way I can think of everything else as just adding. Because another word for elimination method is linear combination, meaning combining the lines. All right, so that's one of my equations that I need. I need to keep this for later. So I'm going to box it so I can find it easily later. And I'm not going to be using it right now. I'm going to leave him there. I'm going to come back and pick him up later. Don't forget who's there. Okay? All right, so now I need to go back and I need to pick another set of 2. I can't pick the same 2. It won't do me any good. I've got to pick another set of 2. So I have to use the one with the 3x and then one of my others. Doesn't matter which one. But looking at the middle one, it's got that 5 and the 12 and then the 73 in it. I want to avoid that one just because I don't want to have to mess with those numbers if I can avoid it. So I'm going to bring down the top equation. I'm going to bring it down right here. So 3x minus 2y plus 4z equals 20. That's the first one. And then I said I want to avoid the middle one, so I'm going to need the last equation. And I'm going to bring it down below there, and I'm going to set it up for elimination right now. You have to try to eliminate the same letters. So I eliminated x's before, I need to eliminate x's again. So on this equation, to get an opposite of 3x, I need to take this equation and I need to multiply it by a negative 3. I like to write that on the little arrow. That way you know that the equation is going through this arrow and it is being changed by multiplying by a negative 3. So it's got a negative 3x and a negative 9y and a positive 6z. Be sure you multiply all the pieces, including the number on the right. So 1 times negative 3 is negative 3 on the right. And then that's the system that I'm going to use for eliminating. So my x's cancel, negative 2, negative 9, negative 11 y's. 4 and 6 is 10 on the z's. And then 20 minus 3 is 17. Now, something very, very amazing happened here, and it is very, very rare. Usually, I would go for the y's at this point. I would multiply this one over here with the 8. I'd multiply that by 11. And I would multiply this one over here by 8. that would make me have opposites, okay? But look at the z's. They both have 10 z's, and that doesn't happen very often, which is why I'm excited about that. It's going to make this a lot easier for us. I'm going to bring this one underneath the other one, and they are both positive z's, though, so what I'm going to be doing to it is I'm going to be multiplying it by a -1. That way I have opposites. So -1 times -11 is positive 11 on the y's. -1 times 10z is the -10z, that way those will cancel. And then -1 times 17 is -17. So 8 and 11 is 19 y's. And then the z's cancel. And then equals 74 minus 17 is what? 53. And then divide by 19. So 53 divided by 19 is 3. So the y value is 3, and you've done all the hard work. Okay, I know that you only have one of your letters, but you've done all of the hard work. Now we have to kind of work our way back up to find the other two. In order to find another letter, I need to go to an equation that only has 2 letters in it. So if you look up at this equation back here, the 8y plus 10z equals 74, it's only got 2 letters in it. So we need to take that 3, we need to go back into that equation with it. So 8 times the 3 plus 10z equals 74. That'll be 24 plus 10z. Come on, computer. 74. Subtracting the 24, 10z is 50, and dividing by 10, z is 5. So right now I've got 2 out of 3 of my values. I'm going to write them. I'm going to start my point. Remember to write your answer as a point. Z will be last to go alphabetical. So we'll have my x and my y and my z. Y is 3. All I have to do is find the x now. I have to go back to one of my original equations because they're the ones that have the x, the y, and the z, and then substitute the y and the z. I'm going to go back into the third equation that was on our original equation. I'm going to write it down right here. It was x plus 3y minus 2z equals 1. That was the one with the smallest values in it. It was the easiest to work with when we're substituting in. So I don't know what x is yet, so I'm going to leave the x there. And then 3 times the y, which is 3, minus 2 times the z, which is 5, equals 1. So this ends up simplifying to 9 minus 10 equals 1 there. And so 9 minus 10, x minus 1 equals 1, x equals 2. Adding that there, and so the x value is 2, and then here is the solution.
It's a long process, but it's easy.
It is a long process, and you just have to be very patient and very careful with it, because you don't want to make a mistake along the way. But we're going to practice it today. It's going to be really fun, and I think that you're going to get the hang of it. But it is kind of a long process.